Good. Good. Well, hey, it's 12:00, almost 5, 12:04. So, let us commence with some questions if anybody has any, or anything that's on your mind, or anything I can address, or um, that would be awesome.
I'm super curious
Yeah.
about the workshop you taught.
Yeah.
Um, that this is a new one for you. Had you taught that before?
No, no,
Cool.
no. So, at One Voice, I taught acting for video games. And it was session was called trophy hunting, get in the game and slay. I'm so pleased with my title. um and it really focused on things. I think I could be wrong about this because I haven't attended a lot of you know acting for video game workshops. I'm not sure, but just from feedback that I've received, that I did not focus on, what do I want to say? I did not focus on stuff like efforts and sort of gnarly beasts and that kind of stuff, um, because it isn't what I do. It's not. That's a type of game that I don't even audition for anymore. I used to, and I shredded my voice, and it took me a long time to get it back. And so I just opted out of that type of video game audition, which is not to say that even the character-driven ones that I do audition for, they do have efforts, but they're just not to that extent. And so it was really based on acting technique, on all the sort of same things that we do for other, for commercial stuff, about who are you talking to and what do you want, and all those kinds of things. And primarily, the use of your imagination, and how a lot of people, I think, in voiceover, who might not necessarily come from an acting background but are interested in doing video games, aren't quite uh, in touch with the fact that they actually have a working and active imagination, that they just have to, you know, um, they just have to be reminded that they possess. And so we use our imaginations all the time when we daydream and we worry and we regret, and we do. I mean, it's constant. We're driving in our cars on the way to work, like, we imagine things that might go on the rest of the day, or we try to figure out a problem that we encountered yesterday. But that's constant use of our imagination. So so I tried to sort of remind everybody that that's what we're after. And so we played a couple of games, and then we just got into copy. And my class was full, and I was so thrilled, but I was also a little overwhelmed by it. Like, I expected maybe 6 to 8, and I had 11. And so we had to move a little faster through copy than what I like. But it was good. I mean, so far I've gotten good feedback about it. I sent them a jot form for some feedback on it, some anonymous feedback, um, uh, in the hopes that I can improve it. And then I would like to, um, I intend to hold a workshop online, a class online. So I just have to figure out how to make that work. So, and just make sure that people are able to do what they need to do for the class, online, not in person. So,
Well, I would
um,
be interested. I have no real designs on doing gaming voiceover, but I'm insanely curious, and I think it would be just fun to mess around with it.
yeah, I mean,
Sign me up.
it's, it's like, film acting is what it is like. That's that's what it is. And so the acting piece of it is also, you use that stuff with dubbing. You use it everywhere. I mean, it's a good and important thing to use everywhere. So,
Yes.
um, all right. If you have a question, just raise your virtual hand, and then I will see, and you can find that under the React tab when you move your cursor over on the bottom part of the screen. Um, you will find it there. So, anyone? Bueller? Does that even work anymore? Does anybody know what Bueller is? Let's see what's going on in the chat. Hello. Hi, Marlon. Hi, Jen. Randy.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, hello,
What's up?
hello.
Uh, do you do voice overview? Are you over that? The voice overview thing?
I I know Danny, who created VoiceOver View. I don't use
You're
it.
separate? Oh, okay. All right.
I am not VoiceOver View.
Yeah,
No,
okay.
I am not VoiceOver View at all. Um, yeah, but Danny States created VoiceOver View for voice actors, and I've been through it and I've seen it, and I'm just too much of a mess to be that organized.
I
I'm a prime candidate, to use the
I use
service.
it. It's amazing. It is absolutely amazing. I just started using it in January and I can't say enough good things about it.
Okay.
Actually, I
Just
don't even.
curious about workflow with that. Like how do you can you integrate anything with that to make it easier?
You can, I don't know which mic I'm on. I didn't check my settings.
I can hear you
So,
fine.
okay,
Yeah.
good. You can integrate wave accounting and
Yeah, I've been trying to do it, but I'll keep
it's
playing with
not,
it.
it's not perfect. So I just kind of manually enter my invoice numbers in there, but yeah,
Oh,
you
okay.
can, but there's not too many integrations, but that's okay. The stats, oh my gosh, the data you get is incredible.
Okay.
And it's
Okay.
very reasonably priced for what it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All
Also,
right.
Marlon,
Yeah.
you
What's up?
you can certainly ask Danny. She's very, very responsive. Um, Although I will say at the moment she's in Mongolia. So,
Oh man,
so
that's what's
she's not
up.
going to be responsive right now. So,
Nice.
but
Uh, Good
but
for
she's
her.
super responsive, and she's also,
Yeah, she has been. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, I've reached out to her.
Okay,
Just
okay,
one
good.
more question on the voice overview, and we'll move on. How do you get the demos? I uploaded my commercial narration, and it's at the very bottom. Danny reached out to me before she bounced, but I did what she told me to do. But they're still in like now they're in the middle, and I want to keep all my samples. But do you know how to make your?
No, I didn't use the website page, so I can't help you with that.
Yeah, yeah,
Sorry.
yeah, yeah. It's all
Yeah.
good.
All right. Who else? Who else has a question? Anything? Any curiosities?
Okay, I got more questions.
All right. Can you use the raise hand feature just in case
Absolutely,
people come
absolutely.
up, and then
Is that the React? Is that the React with the
it's
heart?
under React, and if you click on React, it'll say raise hand. Yeah.
No.
I mean, you don't have to do it now, but if you have another, that would be great since I'm talking to you right now.
Oh, you get it.
Okay. All right. All right. What's next? Go ahead, Marlon. Yeah, that's you.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I don't want to be. Yesterday, I spent 10 hours trying to email not production companies, but agents. I'll do production companies next. But out of a list of 100, I only got 20 done. So it's kind of folly right now. And I want to know how to make it straight, more. Is there a better system? I don't
What
have a system, so I'm trying to get a system.
why do you perceive it as folly? What
Oh, that's how it normally takes. I thought it might be. I want to work smarter, not harder. And it seemed like it took all day just to do 20.
Okay. Well, I would say, you're contacting these agencies cold,
Yeah.
right? Without
I'm
any,
looking on the website. I'm looking at the website, seeing how to, because I was told by my coach from at Such a Voice to do that, to reach out. Since I got my demos back, you need to reach out. And so I don't know if I should back up or go to direct uh, uh, talent agencies first, or just seeing my approach. as a
Okay.
newbie.
Okay. So you said that you have a list of 100 agencies, talent agencies.
About, yeah.
Okay. And you sent to 20?
Yeah, so far. That was
Okay.
yesterday. I'm just starting out.
Okay. Um, do you have, aside from having demos, what sort of experience do you have? Do you have work
No,
under your belt?
nah,
Anything
man.
like that?
I'm fresh out and just
Okay.
trying.
Then I would say you need to stop contacting agents because
I would do that.
you're not ready for them yet.
All right, that's good.
Um,
Okay.
and um, and the first thing that you want to do is um, you want to find outlets where you can audition, right?
Yeah, I'm on
Um,
Backstage. I didn't mean to cut you off. Go
yeah,
ahead.
so backstage is certainly an option,
And a couple
although
others.
again, it's a very
Folkman.
it's
Yeah.
it's vast, right? So you're on Voquent? Are you on any other pay to play sites?
Mandy, I'm trying to figure out Mandy. I auditioned for a Mandy and 3 on Backstage and
Okay. I want to tell you, Marlon, this is a long game.
I get
It's a
it.
long game. The expectation of making a demo and getting an agent is,
I have high expectations, but yeah, I
yeah,
know. That's
and
whatever, back it down a little bit.
yeah, and those expectations need some management, right? Because there are tens of thousands of voice actors who are doing stuff. So hang on before you reply. So what needs to happen is, and it's entirely possible that you've made demos prematurely as well, but nonetheless you have them. So you start with them, okay? And so what I would do is I would begin to explore pay to play sites,
Hmm.
um, and also seek out coaching. And I realize that you have had coaching because you've made demos, and so in the position that you are in, I'm still fairly certain that you need more coaching, right?
Marketing coaching or voiceover coaching?
All of it.
Just
Absolutely.
by hearing my voice, it doesn't sound right to you?
It doesn't have anything to do with the sound of your voice. It has
Oh,
to do with your lack of experience and the
I get it.
expectation
Yeah,
that
yeah,
you
yeah.
can send out a demo to an agent simply after making a
Confidently.
demo.
Okay.
They're absolutely inundated by all kinds of talent with a lot of experience under their belt as well, right?
Yeah.
Um, so what you need here is not, it's a bit of a catch-22, but you need some experience before before you ought to seek representation,
Okay.
right? And you need to establish some relationships, right, with casting directors,
Got it.
with voiceover coaches, because in this climate, the way that you establish a relationship with an agency is by and large through acquiring enough experience, right? Having work under your belt, right? Jobs under your belt. And then, um, and then after a while, sort of proving your ground to casting directors who, if they see talent in you, can make a recommendation to an agent, right?
Okay.
That's sort of how it goes. So I try to steer people away from places that will make you a demo and tell you to go seek an agent right out of the gate. It's never it's very, 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 it's a needle in a haystack rare, for that kind of progress to be made. So I would suggest to you that you continue to coach and that you explore other pay to play sites, so that you begin to understand what kind of profile you need, how you need to populate the profile in order to receive auditions that are really directed toward you and what you do best. I would recommend v123pros.com for their program. It's an inexpensive program on understanding voice 123. And I would start there, but I would absolutely back off sending stuff out to agents.
All right. Got it.
100%.
Got
Like, reserve
it.
that. That's a couple years down the road.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah.
Marlon,
Yeah.
if I can, I'll give you my real world experience. Okay. So I've been doing this almost 20 years and I have regional agents and etc. However, they come and go. This year, I decided I wanted to get a some more agents.
Mhm.
So I contacted quite a few. I can't remember the exact number. It was over 20. I landed, I think it was 35 I contacted. I landed 2.
Mm.
One, they both know me
Oh,
intimately.
nice.
One I was represented by previously. It is, and I've been doing this, a while. So just, you have to be methodical. And Kay is definitely leading you in the right direction.
Yeah, I'll keep watching this and showing up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great.
Thank you.
And in the chat, there's just affirmation there for voice 123 pros. Natasha
Mhm.
and Natasha, where am I from? Canada? Natasha and Catherine, who are really great. So I certainly would go there, and you would learn a lot from that course.
Okay.
Truly, quite a lot. So
Look
thank
into
you
it.
so much, Marlon. I'm gonna
Thank you.
move to Genevieve.
Hi.
How are you? Nice
Good.
to
How are
see
you?
you.
You
Good.
too.
Good.
Yeah, I was just wondering if you could comment on, acting classes in person versus over Zoom. Like, is there really a lot more you can gain by doing them in person?
Oh, I always think in person is ideal, because in acting classes, what we're trying to do is figure out how to relate on a human level, and a screen always puts a barrier to that kind, to the best, most ideal kind of human interaction, right? So if you can, I think in person is great, it's a piece of why I have hesitated, to do acting sorts of stuff um online, but you also have to factor in, the reality of the world these days, and that we've also acclimated in a certain sense um to 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 COVID like, circumstances where we have access to teachers on Zoom that we wouldn't necessarily have access to if we lived in a different state or a different country. And so I think you have to weigh all those factors. All things being equal, it's better to be in person. But if you can gain access um, to a coach that you wouldn't normally have access to, but you can do that online, I would say absolutely do that online. You can always gain things, so I hope that answers. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay, good. All right. James Brown, are you there? There he is. Hi.
Sorry about that. I was attempting to fold some socks while listening to your sage advice and went off to do that, but
That's all
I
right.
was here.
That's all right.
So
Nice to see you.
nice to be back. I was wondering, also we spoke last time about direct marketing, which I remember you saying that wasn't something that was a big part of your
Yeah.
of what you do.
Yeah.
So I imagine that you find there are fallow times in this industry as much as we all do, and then it gets quiet, and sometimes it gets busy, and then we have quieter periods again. What do you do during the quieter periods
Yeah.
to try and kind of either flesh them out or prepare for
Yeah.
the more bounteous ones?
Yeah. That's a great question. I um before everything moved online, and when we did stuff in person and we had relationships with our agents, and if you were an LA talent, you had, and you went in and you auditioned with them, and it was very, you know, region specific, sometimes there was the seasons of voiceover were a lot more apparent. There were certain times of the year, like, oh, I would never leave town in August, right? Because they were doing um, promo stuff, syndicated packages, the introduction of new shows into the lineup. That always happened. Those were always auditioned and cast in August, right? So you'd never leave for that. There was always a rush of Christmas and holiday radio spots that came, starting around end of October, right? And so you wouldn't ever leave for that. You could kind of get away with late January, February, when things were just a little bit quieter. And then if you were in radio, affiliate, or promo or anything like that, you know, you have sweeps, right? And so you had these quarterly sweeps, right? That kind of stuff. And so the seasons were a lot more apparent. And but that has all changed, right? And I have not figured out any rhyme or reason to the ups and downs of the voiceover business at large. I don't recognize that anymore. It all feels very much, and I'm just speaking for myself, but it all feels very much like my own sort of internal season, you know, and it has to do with how much I'm participating in my own career. There are plenty of times when I am fallow. You know, I'm just like, I look at stuff in my inbox and I go, I'm not doing it, or I'm too tired, or I have this project that I'm working on that does not afford me the time to do this, right? So, which is to say, I don't see any overarching seasons anymore because now there aren't just 4 networks. You know, there are 4 networks plus a million cable stations and, you know, 50 streaming services, and they're all doing all kinds of things. And the game cycle is kind of constant. You know, I know that there are game awards shows, and there's a period of time. I'm trying to think of the name of the convention where it's like new games are released. I feel like it's in June, but I don't pay attention to marketing things again, right? Like I'm not good that way. But it's like there are slow times, and I feel like I bring them about myself. And also, all of us are a bit at the whim of everybody else's, however they are slow, you know, in the work that they're doing. So no set thing, but what I do, I tend to take care of all the other important pieces of the business, right? If I need demos, you know, freshened, I will freshen them. If I need a website update, if my bio needs updating with, you know, new information, if I need to do my books, right? I'm not a very strict
Sure.
bookkeeper, and so I'll do my books, you know, and I'll just say, you know what, I'm going to do a month, you know, and then I usually end up doing 2 or 3, and I kind of get myself caught up. Sometimes I just take a bloody vacation, you know, and I don't do anything. And I go live life, right? Because living life is imperative to, if you're going to be an actor, you have to have life experience. And so I that's nothing to be downplayed, you know. We have to sort of be out in the world and know what the world is like out there, in order to gain experiences that then we can draw on when we're working, you know. But I tend to take care of all the other stuff that I let go when I'm busy working. So does that help?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
It's yeah. Just what sort of things perhaps to focus on, and make a large to-do list along with the
Yeah.
market. So
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yes. It's true. Like, what are the things that need to get done this year? You know, that kind of stuff. And you can mark them off, you know, as you go, or to be continued, right? That's how I feel about all my bookkeeping stuff. And you know, I've had some advice lately of like, get yourself a bookkeeper. And I'm like, I can't. It's been so slow. This year has been terribly, terribly slow that I'm like, yeah, I can't afford a bookkeeper this year. So in the slow part, in the slow season, when work is slow, I better do my own bloody bookkeeping, you know. That's like the responsible thing to do, you know. So, yeah. All
Sure
right.
thing.
Who's
Thank you.
next? Nobody has a hand up except James again, but you want to
Oh,
pop your hand down there and
yes.
all right. Thanks, James. Appreciate it. Anybody else have a hand up? Anybody? Hi, Larry. Hello, Patrick. Nice to see you. I've
Your
seen
hair
you.
is getting really long. You look beautiful,
My hair.
as
Oh,
always.
Thank
Yeah, I
you.
haven't seen it that long. We're wearing our matching glasses.
Yes,
Same
your hair
color.
got shorter.
No, it's always been this length. I let my beard grow. It was really quite long. I've
I
trimmed it
think
back a
that's
little.
probably it.
And
It's,
is
you
this
can see the
tattoo
difference.
new? Is this a new
Oh,
tattoo?
no, this is a fake tattoo that I put
Oh,
on for One Voice for the punk theme, and it hasn't come off
ah,
yet. So
oh, well, it looks
yeah.
pretty good.
Yeah, thank you. Not bad, right?
It's really
So
great to see
funny.
you. I'm glad
Nice.
you're well.
Thank you so much.
I think the last time I kind of interacted, you had gotten COVID again.
Oh,
I think.
yeah. Yeah.
Always fun.
That was a while ago. Thank
Yeah.
goodness. So that's
Yeah.
good. All right.
I,
Hey,
I would
Lori,
like,
I see you. Thanks,
yeah, go ahead.
Larry.
Yeah.
I see you, Lori. Lori Grant, you are next. Are you there, Lori?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm sorry.
That's
I thought
okay.
I was I thought I was hitting the button. Here we go.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
Good. Hi. Good to see you. Kay, I had a question
Yeah.
about documentaries. Do you do them? And what I'm finding now, I've done and I've been continuously training on the commercial side, not as much e-learning, but audiobooks. The
Uh-huh.
thing I really want to do and the stream I really want to move in though is documentaries.
Mhm.
And I don't know, I'm having the hardest time finding how to get in. I don't know who to train with. I don't know who to, and I don't want to just put a like email blast out and get back anybody willing to rip me off. I'm really looking for somebody who's working in the, in
Yeah.
that part of the business. And, just your thoughts about
Sure.
moving that way if you've done
Sure.
them.
Sure. Yeah. I have worked and I do work in broadcast documentaries. I love the genre. I think it's fantastic and I love the writing and I love the format um and yes, Mother Sharker. I just had a Shark Week documentary air on Discovery,
I'm
which
gonna
is
go
fun.
listen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And my experience is that broadcast documentary work tends to come from agencies. It's agent driven audition work. And if anybody here has a different experience than that, please chime in. But that is my experience, that agents tend to have relationships with the networks and the cable stations that do documentaries. So that's where they tend to be cast.
Okay.
And my favorite coach for broadcast documentary work is Tom Pinto. I he
Mhm.
is he works quite a bit in that genre, and he coaches in that genre as well. He was my very, very first voiceover coach ever back in 1985, I want to say 1985, 86 in there. So he's been coaching a very long time. He is still working voice actor. I imagine he's working as much as he wants to, and he does coach. So to me, he's the guy. I don't really know of another person who focuses on that as he
Mhm.
does, but he's very good.
All right, I will reach out. One other question along these
Yeah.
lines. In terms of you prepping for them, did you find yourself doing audiobooks or narration, just things longer than commercial copy, or did you just work with Tom and whatever he needed?
You know, Lori, I came up in voiceover at a time um, when we just got thrown into the deep end of the pool. I never trained. I never trained in documentary work. The only thing I ever trained in really was commercial work with Tom Pinto. And then from there, I just started working and agents started sending me copy for other genres and I just started working. So,
Okay.
so, um, I think that to understand storytelling, is a good thing.
Sure.
Um, and then I think what is really helpful and would be helpful and that you would learn from a guy like Tom is is the structure of a documentary read, right? You have what's known as the cold open, right? And then you've got, the introductory paragraph, if you will. Then you have the body of the thing. You have pieces in the middle of the script that are leading into and coming out of commercials, right? So there's a little bit of a different feel. It's like story within story within story. And then of course you've got, you have the closing, right? Which has a particular tone. And so it's really about learning the various pieces of this genre, right? And learning the very nuanced ways in which each of those sections is approached differently. And that is something that you learn really by listening to
By
them
listening and
and
watching,
really
yeah.
paying attention to
Mhm.
the nuances of the difference between how something opens at the very top, right? And how something comes into a commercial or comes out of a commercial break, right?
Mhm.
So to listen is great, and then to take a few classes with a guy like Tom, to be able
Okay.
to practice that and get your get your hands on some good copy.
Okay. You think I can find him on social media on like LinkedIn or something like that?
You sure can. If not even tompinto.com, I would imagine. And
Okay.
I'm not sure. He used to spell his name with an H, Thom, but I don't know if he does that
He
anymore.
still
For a
does.
while he didn't.
He
He
still
still
does.
does? Okay.
It's his
So,
stage name. The
okay.
THOM because there was already a Tom Pinto.
Okay. Got it.
Perfect.
So, yeah.
Perfect.
So
Perfect.
Thom.
All right.
Pinto,
Okay.
like the
Excellent.
bean,
Yeah. Got
Yeah.
it. All right. I will
Yeah.
reach out. That was super
Okay.
duper helpful. Thank
Good,
you,
good. You're
Kenny.
welcome, Lori. Thank you. Who's next? Anybody? Any questions? Anyone? Bueller?
I'm sorry. This is Larry. Real quick. Who was I forgot her name already. The lady you were just speaking to.
Lori.
I'm going to send her his email.
Okay. All right.
Very
Great.
great.
That's
I
great.
just put it in the chat.
Oh,
Oh,
perfect.
thank you
Just
so much. Thank you.
he's on
Pinto
he's on
pipes at Gmail. All right. Yeah, that's great.
I'm working with him right now. He's on vacation right now.
Okay.
So if he doesn't get back to you immediately, he will get back to you.
Okay.
And it might take a little while to get in with him.
Get on the schedule. Yeah. He's a
Okay.
busy boy. Yeah.
Appreciate all the help. Patrick, did I
Yeah.
meet you at Mavo?
Yes, you did.
Ah, excellent. All right. Small world.
Hey, welcome to those of you who just joined. Hi, Alicia. Nice to see you. Amanda, Paul. And I think some of you are off screen. Hello to you as well. But if you have any question or any comments, or if you were at One Voice and have anything to say about that, feel free to just chime in if you have any questions or
I
any
have a
such thing.
question. Can I just jump in?
Just jump in.
I forgive me in advance. I have children home, so if
No
there are
problem.
crazy noises, nobody's dying. They're all teenagers.
Okay. Okay.
They're fine. Um, but I wondered if, and I'm hopping in late because luckily, Jen let me know about this. But I wondered if you coach for promo, and if you would be interested in coaching for promo if you don't.
I do, and I have coached for promo. To bring myself, how do I say this? I need to, what I'm lacking at the moment is copy, right? I have to gather copy. But I have, I've worked in promo for decades and I still do. And so yes, it is in my arsenal of things that I teach. Yeah.
So that brings the question for probably all of us is, do you feel like there's any point in coaching in promo at this point? I talked to my agent about it and they're like, oh, everybody that's doing promo is just kind of doing all the promo. And so there's not really a need for anybody else. And I was like, well, so at some point they will retire, right? Like that there will be a shuffling. Like, should I at least prepare for that or hope for it? Or is it just a give it up? It's all saturated, give it up.
The entire voiceover market is saturated. So I think that if we took that note to heart, we'd all bow out and find another thing to do for a living. So,
good point.
I mean, it's crazy. But I would say this, if you are represented and you have agents that book promo work, right? That have relationships with the networks and streaming services and cable stations, then and you really want to do it and you grasp and really comprehend just how saturated the market is and you want to do it, then I will never say to anybody, don't do a thing. I just won't. That's not my business to tell somebody not to if it's something that you really want to do. There are plenty of examples of people who wanted to do something and just stuck to it because they loved doing it. And eventually a thing opened up and they were prepared to do it, you know? So I I do think that it is a difficult nut to crack. But and I think I do think that it is virtually impossible if you are not represented. Right?
Right.
Because that's where the auditions are coming from. Again, what are the genres where an agency representation is paramount? That's one of them, you know. So is animation.
Yeah.
Particularly if we're talking about, Disney and Nickelodeon and the Comedy Central, and like all of those big animation companies, right? There are smaller, it's like somebody said last month, there are some animation companies in Nashville, Tennessee. And there are particularly some faith-based companies that produce animated things, right? And it's like, okay, great. Then if you live in Nashville and that's what you want to do, those are the people that you need to seek out. And that, right? And that's a situation that's more likely that you're going to do that on your own as opposed to being needing to be represented, right? But promo is one of those that it's like if you have an agent and you have, agents are interesting beasts, right? Because if you are with an agent that represents you only in one category, or you're hip pocketed with them or something like that, sometimes it's hard to get them to honor your request,
Yeah.
that you want to do that. And I would say that is about it's still about relationship building. That to me says that the relationship at the agency still needs further building, right?
Yeah.
And that means you get to know them, and that means you offer yourself in every sort of way that that you can to sort of show that you're willing, that you're able, that you're open, that you're talented, that you have the desire to be fully in the business, not just in one part of the business. And that, again, it takes time and years and all of that, but it would go hand in hand with the whole idea, of course, that, promo takes time, like
Right.
that kind of thing. So,
Laying the groundwork,
yes,
right?
yes,
Like
it's a lot of groundwork. It's a lot
I'm
of
with
groundwork.
CESD, but with their commercial division. And so it's a totally separate division that does
Yeah,
promo. And so it's like I have to get that introduction, but I'm not ready for that introduction without any coaching or training. And do I even like promo? I don't know, because I
right,
haven't ever had a chance to do it. So
right.
that's where the
Yeah.
coaching comes in.
Yeah, that's a really good point. If you work with a coach or two, and you develop the skill, um, and it's a coach that has a relationship with the agency and can say, you know what, you should try her out, just try her out, throw her a few pieces of copy, see how it works.
Yeah.
That's exactly how that kind of thing works. And you can't time it, and it's all sort of a beautiful confluence of it's what is that? It's like I don't think it's magic. What is it called? But it's when preparedness meets opportunity, right? Um,
Coincidence. Is that the thing they say?
yeah,
Coincidence is when
it's like or luck. I think isn't that how they it's like, oh, you're so lucky. No, I was prepared and
the
the opportunity
opportunity.
came along and they met. And that's what luck looks like. But luck is actually, the product of a lot of laying a lot of groundwork. So
Love
that's
it.
what
Well,
I'd say.
thanks.
So
I'll send you an email and we'll
okay.
connect.
All right, great. Great, great, great.
Can I piggyback off of something you said? You said to
Yeah.
Marlon earlier, that it's a long game. It's a long game for beginners.
Uh-huh.
But But it's also a long game to jump into a new genre.
Yes.
And I just want to say, I've been doing this a long time, and I am now watching the kids I helped do their demo. I'm watching them do the actual accounts that I used to have. And I'm not bitter, I'm thrilled. I'm like 1 to 5 years from retirement. So if you want to get in, start now.
Yeah.
Then keep at it. It will come
Yeah.
if you're good and you work at it.
Yeah.
Just play the long game in any field.
Yeah. That's exactly right. I mean, any promo that I ever did came with another person doing the promo that they weren't using anymore. You know, that's how that works, you know. So and so again, we have to be prepared to do the replacing, right? And we also have to prepare ourselves to be replaced, right? That's the nature of the beast. And you can't, as Beth said, it's like she's not bitter. It's like you can't be bitter. That's ridiculous, you know, like it all comes and goes. You know, it's very fluid, you know. I was talking to Steve Mackle last night. He's the voice of NBC late night. So the Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon, and he also did up until like a year and a half, 2 years ago, he did SNL and Seth Meyers, and he's had that account for 15 years. 15 years, you know. And before Steve Mackle had it, Townsend Coleman had it for 17 years, right? That so and they both you know, have this understanding of like, yeah, you know, things change. They change. In that instance, NBC is ridiculously faithful to their talent, you know, for that segment, you know. And each of those voices, both Townsend and Steve, have become the brand. You know, their voices are the brand. You hear Steve Mackle go, "Tonight, Fallon's got blah blah blah," and you're like, "Oh yeah, that's NBC." You know, that's what it is. That's what it sounds like, you know. But Steve's prepared to be replaced. It's like it's coming. He's like, if I make it to September, I'm like, it's the middle of August. I think you're gonna make it to September, you know. But that's the thought. You know, every month that goes by, it's like, well, if I make it to December, you know, if I make it to next year, if because we all know it's like anytime each of us could be replaced. So, um, yeah, yeah. So, yes, she disappeared from my screen. Oh, well, that, Alicia, there you are. Yeah. So with that in mind, yeah, if you're interested, there's no reason not to try it. You know, I've tried a few things and discovered I didn't like them, you know, and I'm happy to know that. You know, it's a pretty, as things go, that's a fairly inexpensive way to find out, you know? Um, so, uh, so yeah, I say, I never
Just
say
feels like
follow
a
your heart. I never say that, but I'm going to say that right now.
I love it. It just feels like why not explore,
Yeah.
right? It's
Yeah.
fun to explore, and I might hate it and I might never go union where most of the work is, and
Mhm.
but I still might enjoy
Yeah.
the exploration.
Yeah.
So thank you
Well,
for that.
I will tell you, have really, I've really come to understand uh, that the most successful people in voiceover are very curious people. They're interested. They want to know. They like to explore, you know? And curiosity is the opposite of fear. And so when you look at something new, do you go, huh, what's that? Or do you go, oh, I can't, no, I'm not gonna, you know? And I think the best response to all of the questions that we have is, you know, is to be curious about it, you know? So, Larry.
Just on that vein, and I've always said this because it was my experience, that if I never did promo, or if even an audiobook, there's something you can learn from it and bring to
Yes.
where your wheelhouse is. And I think
Yes.
that's really important. So
Yeah. 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 I think too, this is how it all connects, right? It's kind of remarkable how, you know, all these ideas and thoughts, how they connect. The more you figure out what you're good at, what you're not good at, what you like and what you don't like, in the process of doing that, you are defining your brand. You are defining who you are and what you do, right? And that is what a brand is. A brand is not a slogan. A brand is not a picture. A brand is not a graphic, right? In and of themselves, is that those are nothing, right? It's when you know who you are, what you do well, what you don't do well, what you don't like, you know, then you can start to attach images and thoughts and ideas to who you are. You know, you've established, you know, who you are, right? So coming to understand that you don't like something is a really valuable piece of information, really valuable. So yeah. What else, my friends? Anything? I know there's something lurking. Is September a new ratings cycle? I see that. Tell me, Michael, the context in which you mean that.
Oh, I'm sorry. You were saying that Steve Mackel says if I make it to September, then I'm good or something like that. So I thought maybe there was something really
Oh,
specific, like the new
no,
TV season, it was
no.
specifically in relation to the Steve Mackel.
Well, there's definitely like a little bit of a hiatus period in the summer, and they do get back, you know, they do get back to work um in the fall, right? Which is September, but he was hired in September 15 years ago. So he's like, if I make it to September, it'll be 15 years. So, but he
Right.
was also saying because he was just off, he was kind of on vacation, you know, for 2 weeks because of the Olympics. And so they weren't doing any new shows. It was all Olympics for the past 2 weeks. And so he said, well, they brought me back after the Olympics, right? And I'm like, well, was that a surprise to you? And he said, well, anything like that can be a marker, you know, a marker of like, okay, we're going to shift now. It's like after the Olympics, we're going to start a new thing, right? After January 1, we're going to start a new thing. After, you know, so there are all kinds of markers throughout the course of the year, which is what he's attuned to, right? So that was sort of specific to him, just because he was hired in September of what,
Right.
I don't know what, 2009, I guess. Is that right? Did I do that math correctly?
Yeah. Yeah, that's
Okay.
right.
Wow. Wow. What happened there? Let's see. Let's see. Tim, you said, I don't think Joe, were you guys talking about Joe Cipriano? Joe, I don't think Joe will ever retire. Is that who you were talking about?
Yeah, that's what I meant. I don't think Joel will retire. I think he'll do it till his voice gives out. Or
Yeah, I think
uh,
I think as long as anybody hires us, you know,
yeah,
we'll
I think he'll be in the retirement home
yeah,
with a
exactly.
microphone doing his
Can
promo.
you do this spot for us? Yes. Yes, I can. Let's see. Anything else? Yes, most promo is in fact union. Yeah. Bingo. Although I will say, you know, I don't know if you guys know this, you know, there's a whole category of work that is referred to as non-jurisdictional work. Okay, so that work was never organized by the union, and so it is not considered non-union. When something is non-union, the thing has been negotiated, right? And producers have stepped outside of that negotiation and are looking for talent that is not a part of the union to sort of sidestep it, right? Non-jurisdictional work is, again, work that was never organized, and therefore you're not stepping over anything. It's very nebulous, but the union knows about it, and it's crazy. I mean, all the shows, like the things like Love It or List It, or This House Does That Thing, or whatever, all of the shows, a Tiny House stuff, all those are all non-jurisdictional, right? They pay a really good rate, but they're not union, right? And the promos for them, that's the same. It is not union. So keep that in mind, Alicia. Right? Beth, I see you nodding with kind of consternation.
No, I just didn't know that.
Yeah, isn't that wild?
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah,
Love It or List It is definitely Tina Marasco territory.
for sure. I think that shows off the air, or they're not doing any new shows. The show may still be on the air and she may still be on it, but she doesn't get any residuals.
Yeah,
Like,
no,
it's a
no,
bummer,
yeah.
Um,
And they're playing all the time.
all the time. Yeah, I did the first 4 seasons of the Property Brothers, and they ran those initial seasons for a long, long time. And, and you get the fun of saying, when somebody says, have I heard you on anything? And you go, well, there's that more than anything I've ever done in my 40 years of doing this. That's the thing that had people go, oh, I've heard that.
The most listened to.
Yeah, exactly. It's so funny. So just went out of focus. Sorry there. So it's 5 minutes before the hour. Any last thoughts or perspectives or questions I can answer for you?
Just appreciate you doing this.
Thank
I
you.
put a question in the chat.
Who just said that? Oh,
Steve.
Steve Ward, where are you? Are you hiding from me? That's okay. You don't have to show up. It's all right. I'm gonna
Yeah,
read.
I'm on a work call at the
Oh,
same
no,
time.
no. Okay. I got you. All right. Tips on dealing with imposter syndrome on all levels. Oh my gosh. That's such a very, very large question. I am about to publish, I just published a blog post it'll actually publish 2 weeks from today on LinkedIn, and it's a little bit about that. It's a little bit about the importance of really knowing who you are, and what your identity is, and outside of the world of voiceover. Um, uh, and that means, how do we define ourselves, right? By our relationships, by our belief system, by the things that matter to us, by the things that we hold dear, all the things, again, that are outside of our everyday pursuit of voiceover work. And those are actually the things that that when you understand them and know them and embrace them and all of that, that that make it such that you won't feel fraudulent, in the face of doing voiceover work, because your worth and your value doesn't come from your bookings. It doesn't come from how many jobs you book, or the types of auditions you get, or the type of work that you get. It's just a way of making a living. That's really true. And we can love our work, and that is a beautiful thing, but our work is not who we are, right? And so I think that if anybody were to coach with me and came to me with that question, those would be the things that I would seek to develop in you, right? To remind you of yourself, of like what's important to you in your life, right? Because I'll say this, if this helps with imposter syndrome, just know that the vast, vast, vast majority of us are not booking. We're not. If we book 1 or 2 or 3 auditions out of 500, that's a bloody miracle. So we have to connect to other people. And we have to connect with people who are honest and aren't trying to blow smoke up everybody's skirt, you know, to say how busy they are and how, you know, how fabulous they are. Because the more that is going on social media, the more I'm convinced that it's not going on. No. So again, it comes down to relationship building with people who are sincere and genuine and honest about their lives and what their work is and what, you know, that is where you build your sense of yourself. And if you are surrounded by people that you love who love you back, imposter syndrome is kind of, it's going to slowly fade into the background, and you're just going to recognize that the thing you have in front of you is just an audition. It's not your person on the line, you know. So that's like a 5-minute thing, but I realize it's kind of quick and dirty there, but that's what I would say. So Larry.
Along those lines, I so appreciated your post about humble bragging.
Yeah.
And it's so interesting for me how some I will embrace and some it's like, oh, I've had enough.
Yeah. Same
And
here. Same.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I just appreciated that you brought that up in
Yeah.
one of your posts. It was really great.
Yeah. And it's really to like how you discern the difference between them, right? Because God knows I've shared things, you know. It's like when I booked Star Trek, that was an unbelievable booking to me. Like once in a lifetime, can't believe it happened. And I was like, I did feel like it was like, Mommy, look at me. I mean, I felt very much like that, you know, and it but I had no sense of like, I'm going to get other work from it, or this makes me better than anybody else. It's, you know, it doesn't. It's just, it happened to be a thing I particularly loved, you know, and was attached to, you know, and am a huge fan of. And so it just felt sort of special. And so that was the specialness of it. But it's like I posted it once and then that's it. Just go now, it goes away and it just fades into the history books, you know. It's like that's all. But very often you see it over and over and over and over again, and it's like, okay, that's enough. Like, because it makes it's not, I don't know, is it intended? I think it just, so if you do that a lot, it just serves to make other people feel badly. That it does, and I think
Yeah,
it's,
and I think it might come from management, like as a good idea that if somebody was, you know, which I don't know why a client would in essence go search you on social media to see what you're up to.
there's no chance, and
They don't have the time.
I would venture to say that it would never come from management, ever, because they know managers and agents, casting people, they're not online looking at stuff. They never, I just spoke to a casting director, really prominent casting director, about this very thing. And she was like, I, it has no bearing. She's like, I'm working 17 hours a day. I'm not online looking at things. I will never cast someone because they post, it could be the most beautiful spot in the world. She's like, I'm not going to see it. Doesn't matter.
And the only,
you know,
people that are really commenting on it are other voice talent and people who may revere that talent, right? So they're kind of just boosting their egos. This
Yeah.
is one of my pet peeves.
Yeah.
So sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. I totally get that. And at the same time, I will say, if you booked something that you never thought in a million years you'd book, and you are really proud of it and you want to share it with your comrades, you should, you know, but it's like, let's be realistic about what the purpose of it is, you know? And, you know, and it's to celebrate a win is what it is. But if you celebrate every last win that you have, it will eventually fall on deaf ears, and the win doesn't matter anymore, you know, in that respect. Right. So, Alicia, I want to point this out that you said, we can win an award and still feel like we don't belong and we aren't good enough. Isn't that the truth? I mean, why is that? If the award was the thing that we were seeking that would validate our lives, how is that possible? Right? And it's possible because it isn't the thing that we're seeking. We're not seeking the award. Every last one of us wants to know to the depths of our being that we are loved, right? And an award doesn't bring you love. It brings you an award to sit on your shelf, you know? So that's the thing. So we have to be about the business of seeking relationships where we know that we're loved and where we love in return. And that is the thing that is going to make imposter syndrome very difficult to take hold, you know? So with that, I bid you all adieu. Thank you all. I can't tell you how much I appreciate you being here, and your contributions to the conversation are really, really helpful and really meaningful. So I hope you all will come back and tell your friends.